Is it possible that what we say about other people says more about us? So before we say something about somebody else, would it be a really good idea to know that A, that it's true? And here's a great question. Is what I'm about to say going to add value to the person I'm saying it to, add value to the world, add value to my own reputation? Because don't we live in a world now where people say a lot of stuff about other people, and do we know that it's true? Often when people say to me, oh, I don't like such and such, or I think such and such person is a terrible person, or they've done something horrible, I always ask this question, do you know them? What exactly did they do? What exactly did they say? And is that exactly what they said? Because is it possible that we live in a world where media and social media cut things up to make it look like people said something they didn't say? And it's happened too many times for that not to be true. And if somebody did that to you, imagine you had an opinion about something, you had a passion about something, you had a message to share with the world, and somebody took your message and cut it up into little pieces and made it sound like something that you didn't say, completely opposite to what you really meant. How would that make you feel? And that's what I always ask myself. If somebody did this to me, if somebody said this about me and it wasn't true, how would I feel? So before we open our mouth to speak, before we make a judgment, before we criticise, before we say something about somebody else, would it be nice to ask, is this actually true? Do I know this to be true? Or am I just listening to somebody else's opinion? Am I regurgitating somebody else's opinion? Have I become the expert in somebody else's opinion? So for example, in my library, and this is a library full of books about people, and the thing that I've learnt the hard way is I'm not interested in unauthorised biographies. I'm not interested in other people's opinions about people. I read a book that's been written by the person, or it's an authorised biography. Because again, imagine if somebody wrote a book about you and you didn't have any input into it. So somebody could just write whatever they wanted to and you couldn't share whether that was true or not. And is it possible that there's lots of books like that? So this is my begging position, as I always get into. Our kids, our gorgeous future adults, are being bombarded every day with information, and a lot of it is negative. It's criticising, it's ugly, it's horrible. They hear stuff about other people that's horrible. So I always ask myself this question: if a child was listening to me speak and I'm saying something about somebody else, am I living the example of a kind, respectful, gracious, sophisticated, stylish person, or am I just regurgitating somebody else's opinion? Because social media and the media are filled with information about other people, but do we know that it's true? And that's another very personal question that I ask when I listen to somebody say something on the news. And it's interesting, because when I was growing up, the news was just the news. There was a person, usually a man in a suit, at 6 o'clock at night, and he would say, today this happened, today there was a murder or a burglary or a car accident or a tornado or something happened in the world, but there was no opinion attached to that information. There was just, this happened. Now, if you listen to the news, social media news, any kind of information that we're bombarded with every day, it doesn't just come with information, it comes with information and backed up with the person's opinion. The other thing that's very interesting is the person that's sharing that information, is it possible that they are paid to say that by an interest group? So it might be a pharmaceutical company, it might be the government, it might be a big farming organisation, it might be a food company, it could be the person that's sponsoring the show. And I'm very, very careful of what I put into my brain, which is one of the reasons why I don't like to watch the news, because I think it's just full of other people's opinions. And yes, I have the right to have my opinion, you have the right to have yours, and so do the people on the news have the right to have their opinion. But it doesn't mean that we're right, does it? I don't want to be nasty, I don't want to be negative, I want to be a kind, beautiful person. How about you? And most importantly, I want our kids to grow up in a world where being a kind, beautiful person is normal, not something that's quite bizarre. And criticism and negativity and nasty things, surely that's not a great example to set for our kids. So let's live our life to the max as beautiful, kind, gorgeous, gracious people. Could that be a good idea, live your life to the max?